It is 00:00. And you are listening to the Best of Bond with your hosts Tylord and Wubs.
I must say, it's lethal.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 11 of the Best of Bond with Wubs and Tylord. And this week we are talking about the fifth James Bond movie, You Only Live Twice, from 1967, directed by Lewis Gilbert. And this is a great pleasure to be with you again, Wubs. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure, Tylord. I'm super excited to talk about You Only Live Twice. And
Yes.
everything, once again, I know it seems like we've said this the last few episodes, everything is bigger, right? Everything's better.
Yes.
That they kept throwing money into this franchise. God bless
Yes.
them. And
God bless them, yes.
you can really see it in the final product.
Yeah, this one's, was it 9.5 million, so 3.5 million more than the last one.
Yep.
And it really shows. Like, I know we keep saying they're getting bigger and better, but I think it might peak out at this point.
Yeah, that's arguable. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. But yeah, this thing. Yeah, I think even that, we'll get to the sets later on, but I think even that last volcano set was like the whole budget of the first movie, Dr. No.
Yep. $1 million
Yeah.
set. $1 million set in 1967.
Yeah, wow, it is so amazing. I'll try to put some pictures of it in the video. Yeah, just so amazing. I guess I didn't quite really comprehend that when I was a kid, like how impressive that set was. I thought, oh, maybe there really is a place like that. They just filmed there. But anyway, so what's your history with You Only Live Twice, and what was your opinion of it before your most recent viewing?
I think for this one, it's one that I enjoyed. I would have said that it was kind of mid for me, probably.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say one of my favorite Connerys. But it would be like kind of right on the edge, probably.
Okay. Yeah.
I love the setting. I love the everything that they do in Japan. I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
And just the plot is very cool. The plot was really along with Thunderball, they pioneered the typical, all right, let's hijack some nuclear warheads and hold the world ransom, right? Blofeld Spectre plot, right? That is played out in many films that we'll see in this series.
Pretty much like a retelling of this in the next two Lewis Gilbert movies, and I don't mind because this is like the ultimate Bond plot right here.
Right. It's a timeless sort of plot, really. Once Thunderball and You Only Live Twice had been done, it was a good formula.
Yeah, it almost feels like Dr. No on steroids. Like, rather than tampering with the launches, like they're actually hijacking them and trying to pit West against East.
Yep.
And this movie reminds me a lot of Dr. No. I never really got that until this viewing, but there's like a secret lair at the end, and there's a Bond with a girl in a bikini on an adventure. It really gives, and you don't see the villain until the end, like the last 30 minutes.
Right.
It really has Dr. No vibes. Yeah, as far as I go, this is a movie I always loved, and I think it was one of the only movies I recorded off of television. So I actually owned like a copy of this when I was a kid. So I would watch this movie over and over and over. And but I don't think it was ever one of my favorites. In fact, I think it was probably my least favorite Connery movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because not for the stuff we've been talking about, like the visuals, the cinematography by what was this, or the director of photography, Freddie Young. Like, this has got to be the most beautiful movie as far as like the scenery and the shots of this movie, and the camera work and everything. Not for those reasons, and not for Bond or the villains. Like, this has got to be the most iconic main villain of all. And the women are just as beautiful or more beautiful than ever. I just thought it was kind of a drag when I was a kid, especially some of the parts where he's turning into a Japanese man. And like thinking like why is he doing this? I didn't understand, like it was something out of the book. but I think the book did it a lot. The book did it a lot better. And this is the first time I've watched this thing until after I've read the book, and the book is so freaking good. So, but before I read the book, like I thought that the plot was cool, but I thought, and the high points in this movie are higher than any of the other movies. But overall, I didn't really care for it as much as the other movies. So that's kind of what my opinion before was. Like this has always been like my least favorite Connery, and I hate to say that because I love all of them. Yeah, and every time I watch it, I enjoy it. But I think it was probably my least favorite Connery.
Yep.
Yeah. But it opens up with the classic gun barrel. Which once again we see Sean Connery, and it has a cool little tune to it. Kind of has like almost like a Japanese sound, like the Bond theme at the beginning, and opens up with the gun barrel sequence, and then we get the hijacking of a space capsule in space. So I think this is even upping it's going a step above Thunderball with like the underwater battles stuff. Now we're seeing stuff in outer space, and a giant spacecraft opens up its nose and captures an American spacecraft, and pinches the guy's life cord. The poor astronaut flips out into space. Pretty cool, like probably some of the best like outer space type cinematography at the time. And then we see like the NATO meeting, and the Russians are blaming the Americans, and the Russians are blaming the Americans are blaming the Russians, and the defense secretary of Britain is saying, "Oh, we have our man on it right now, and we'll get to the bottom of this." And they know something's going on over in Japan is where this happened. So then we cut to Bond, and he's in bed with a lady, of course, a Chinese girl. He's in Hong Kong, and pretty cool little set. That's probably a Ken Adam set. She's you're led to believe she's a baddie, but I think she's in on something. The girl, I think her name is Ling, and and that actress, I think she shows up again when she's old in Casino Royale.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
interesting. Her name is Sai Chin. She shows up, but a cute little young girl in this, a young woman in this movie, and she ends up getting up, and it looks like she's double crossing Bond, and he goes up in the bed that folds up into the wall, and then here comes some baddies with machine guns and shoot him. And then the Hong Kong cops come in, and they find Bond dead. They pull the bed down, and Bond's there dead. They go, "Well, he died on duty. He would have wanted it that way." And then we go right into the opening title sequence. Like, whoa, Bond is dead. No, so what do you think of the opening pre-title sequence in this?
I love it because it's very funny too. Right, there's several puns right away that are pretty funny, and
yeah,
she goes through the whole thing of, or what does he say? Yeah, that Connery says right at the beginning.
Yeah,
why do Chinese girls taste different from all other girls or whatever? And she's like, "Oh, you like us better?" And he's like,
"Yeah,
no, just different."
Yeah.
But I was thinking, watching it this time, I was like, this would never happen now. Like they would never film it like that now.
And then we go into the another beautiful Maurice Binder opening, and I think this, and the music too, is just so fantastic. The John Barry composition with the Nancy Sinatra vocals. I think this is like one of the most like dreamy, beautiful Bond themes. I love all of the minor chords in there. They just sound so beautiful and dreamy, and they pull at your heartstrings. I love this song, the theme song, and we see all of the once again the Maurice Binder special effects with all of the silhouettes, or the Asian women there, like the silhouettes. I think one of them was actually what's her name from Goldfinger, Lee May, or was I noticed she was one of the girls at the back. I noticed she was one of the girls at the bathhouse, and I think she was one of the girls posing at the end of the movie, and maybe during the title sequence. But
Okay.
but very very like Asian themed. The music even kind of sounds like an Asian theme to it. I really love this song. And you see the volcanoes going off and everything. Like, what do you think of the title sequence?
Yeah, that was perfect, right? It's very, like you said, very Asian, very Japanese vibe
Yeah.
to it. The song itself has
Yeah.
those strings that
Yeah.
sound more like Asian music. And
Yeah.
Nancy Sinatra is a great singer, right? So it was a good choice for a theme
Yes.
song. I'm sure they didn't want to pay for
Yeah.
Frank, right? But they could pay for
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I heard that Frank Sinatra was supposed to do Moonraker. I don't know if that's true or not. It might have been just like some trivia I read off of Internet Movie Database, but I think Frank Sinatra was attached to one of them. I think it was Moonraker, which would have been
Nice.
interesting.
Yeah, it would have been so different from Shirley Bassey for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I could kind of see him singing that song. I could kind of hear in my head him singing that song, though.
Yeah, I could hear it if they use the same song.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but for Your Eyes Only, I know there was an alternate version of this that was excellent too. But I think I prefer just like the melody or the chord progression of this one. Like, it's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of, I think the movie came out around the same time, Midnight Cowboy, with John Barry did the song for that too, but it was like more of a Western, like an American type thing. There's harmonicas. That movie with Dustin Hoffman and John Voight.
Right.
I remember the theme song to that sounded a lot like You Only Live Twice, but kind of with a harmonica.
That's cool. I didn't know John Barry worked on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of tracks in Midnight Cowboy I really like. That movie's super depressing. It's a good movie, but it's not something I want to watch over and over. Midnight Cowboy, but the music in there, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but great opening title sequence. And then we go into the plot. And this is a unique movie where Bond doesn't go to M's office for a briefing. He's out. He's faked his own death, and everyone's in on it. And even the newspapers, everyone says James Bond is dead because they need his Spectre off of him, so he can actually go look for Spectre. He has to go on this mission and trying to get his rivals off of his back. So they fake his death and they shoot him out of they drop him. They have a burial at sea. They drop his body out in the sea in Hong Kong there. And then in some underwater sequences in this movie, I forgot a lot about this movie. Underwater sequence, his body gets dropped to the bottom, and scuba divers come and pick up the body, bring it back to a naval submarine, and then they unwrap him, and he's in there with an oxygen tank, looking pretty sharp in his naval uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see M's office, MI6 office, is like out in the field on this naval submarine. We get to see Moneypenny and M out in the submarine. He has his office in the submarine, which is cool. He has all of his books and everything in there. Kind of cool. But I don't want to go into the whole plot. Like as usual, I'm just going to read the back of the VHS tape. The plot of this movie. 1967, Sean Connery is back as James Bond, and the emphasis on the explosive action in this fifth 007 adventure set against the lush splendor of Japan and a wicked plot to precipitate World War III. Someone is snatching space capsules out of the sky. The Americans blame the Soviets, who in turn accuse the US, and both sides are gearing up for the ultimate confrontation. Only one man can save the world from this coming catastrophe, Agent 007. But can he act in time? Highlighted by a spectacular set, a missile silo concealed within a dormant volcano, and the sensational air battle between Spectre's forces and Bond's autogyro, an amazing plane that can be disassembled and fit into 4 small suitcases. You Only Live Twice is one of the most thrilling Bond adventures ever made. and it's 117 minutes. So what do you think of the plot of You Only Live Twice?
Yeah, I think it's like you said. It's sort of like Thunderball in space, right? The Spectre steals
Mm-hmm.
these nuclear
Yeah.
warheads, and
Yeah.
they these spaceship. Well, they're not stealing nukes in this one. They're stealing the spaceships and trying to get the Americans and the Soviets to go to war
Yeah.
basically and enter into a
Mm-hmm.
nuclear war so that Spectre can then take over the world
Yeah.
after the superpowers have destroyed each other, which
Yeah.
in some ways is it's a much bigger plot than Thunderball even. Thunderball was
Mm-hmm.
just about extortion, but You Only Live Twice is about taking over the world. It's the first real Doctor Evil plot
Yes.
of you know
Yeah.
world domination that
Yeah.
Spectre has. So
Yes.
in that sense, it was bigger than all of the others before it. The stakes are higher.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm kind of glad that they went with this plot because it's like the typical classic Bond movie plot, like as big as you can get, like trying to prevent World War III, trying to pretty much prevent the end of the world.
Hmm.
I'm kind of glad they went with that for the movie, because the book is totally different from this. I love the book so much. Like I hadn't read it until like last year, and the book is so fantastic. This is the first movie that really strays away from the book. I think after this, most of them just have nothing to do with the book, and this is kind of where it started. Although there are some similarities, like Tiger Tanaka is in it, and Kissy is in it, and Henderson is in it in the novel,
Hmm.
but a totally different plot. The plot is there isn't really a plot in the book. He's just like on a diplomatic mission to talk to Tiger Tanaka in the book, and Tiger Tanaka is an interesting fellow. We'll get to him later, but he's most Tiger Tanaka wants him to do a mission, like go kill this guy named Shatterhand that lives in this castle, this big extravagant castle with a garden of death around it with poisonous plants and animals, where people go in Japan go to commit suicide at this place, and it's on the ocean side. It's a really cool. I guess they were scouting out a location for this castle in Japan that Gilbert and the producers and Ken Adam and all them, they were looking, and you think even Peter Hunt was over there. They were looking for this location, and they couldn't find a castle on the ocean in Japan. So they went with the volcano layer, which is pretty cool. They found this crater, a volcano crater with a lake down there. They go, would it be cool if there's a villain's headquarters down there? So they went ahead and used that. I'm kind of glad they did that, even though I wish we'd have gotten the Castle of Death, but I don't know how they would have worked all of the nuclear the spacecraft hijacking in with that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I'm really glad they went this way with the movie. Although I would love to see an adaptation of the book. Um, yeah, I'm glad we got to see this. And the book didn't really have much going on as far as like action set pieces or anything other than the final infiltration of that castle. This movie is full of action, all kinds of stuff. Like almost it seems like they improvised, like the helicopter picking up the car and all the cool stuff in this movie, and him going down in a plane. He's captured in a plane that Helga Brandt trapped him in the plane and parachuted out, and he's stuck in the plane. And then the cool little airplane air battle sequence, like I'm kind of cool. They did what they did with the movie. It worked out pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, so I did enjoy the plot, although. And in the book, he did go undercover as a Japanese fisherman, and he married Kissy Suzuki, and he trained with her to dive, and they were to get close to Blofeld's castle. And it turns out Shatterhand was Blofeld in the book, which was like an epiphany, like because that's the guy that killed his wife. So like it just
Oh.
he was like, this is the guy that killed my wife, so this is like the revenge mission right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
so did this book come right after OHMSS then in the
Yeah,
books?
yes. Yeah, and if you notice, they were trying to release this movie ever since Goldfinger. Like
Right.
it was supposed to come out after Goldfinger, but then it turned into Thunderball, and then it was supposed to go to that after Thunderball, but it went to You Only Live Twice. So they did it all out of order from this book, so it's not really that same Blofeld trilogy in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, we would have never gotten that wonderful volcano layer, that wonderful Ken Adams set, and the redesign of Blofeld. I think that works really good. The Donald Pleasance, like that's so iconic. Like we see even like Austin Powers parody it with Doctor Evil,
Right.
and so much of this movie is parodied in the Austin Powers series. Like it's just so over the top and so outrageous. Like this is the go-to movie. Like there's even like a Mr. Osato type character in Austin Powers, and I think they go to Japan in the third one.
Yep.
It'll just a lot of this movie you see uh, is borrowed in Austin Powers or parodied. Yeah, wonderful stuff as far as the plot goes. But then I guess we'll get to the man himself, James Bond. Sean Connery's fifth outing as Bond, and it was supposed to be his last because he was getting frustrated with all the press and the publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he wanted to move on to other stuff. But this, as far as his performance in the movie go, I always hear people say, "Oh, this he sucks in this" or whatever. But I think that's just like people get on this kick where because the production something's going on or it's behind the scenes stuff, they associate that with the movie, and in their mind his performance is bad. But I mean, the guy is a professional, like just like the actors were saying, he can turn on the charm like right when the cameras start rolling. So I don't
Yep.
really think he's bad at all on this. I don't think he has as much to do in this. This movie's more plot driven. Like he doesn't have as much to do as this in like Goldfinger or Thunderball, I'd say. So I think
Right.
maybe that's why people are not that impressed with his performance. But I think he's just as charming as ever. I love his one-liners. Um, um, yeah, I don't think he might. Everyone says he's kind of out of shape in this one, but he still looks pretty darn good. But I think he's
Mm-hmm.
starting to look a little softer after Thunderball. Um,
Yeah, you can tell that, particularly in some of the extras, he looks a little flabby
yeah,
compared
yeah,
to
he
the
kind
earlier
of, yeah.
films.
I was thinking he kind of looks more boyish in this, like his face is kind of rounded out a little bit, like he doesn't have like the chiseled jawline and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he looks old. He looks older. He just kind of looks more like boyish and a little bit softer. But I wish I could be in that shape. Yeah, but yeah, and yeah, gets all the women as usual. I think he gets 4 women in this, and
Yep.
and probably like the most epic battles at the end. I know a lot of his work is done by Bob Simmons, but they edited Peter Hunt and his crew did a lot of good editing with that. And then the awesome fight he has. It's kind of a really cool underrated fight between the Bond and The Rock's granddad, Peter Maivia.
Oh,
That was a
nice.
cool fight. Like that guy almost seemed like on the level of Oddjob. It was just like a little throwaway henchman, but the
Mm-hmm.
driver of the car that he sneaks into Osada's building with. That cool little fight in that waiting room or whatever it is, or where they're tearing up all the furniture and everything, and throwing around each other, and Bond kind of looks sweaty, like he's really struggling. I thought that was a cool scene, the fight scene, and then he has another little throwaway villain, Hans at the end. He throws him in the piranha pit. I think that was mostly Bob Simmons, but that was a fun little fight. It almost seemed like Jaws before Jaws. That guy was so big.
Yep.
Like that's got to be like the guy closest to Jaws' size, even though he was just in the movie so little. That guy Hans, Blofeld's bodyguard. Um, yeah, but I enjoyed Bond in this movie. I was kind of getting off topic. What do you think about Sean Connery in this?
Yeah, I'd agree with your assessment. I mean, I think he was still good. I know people
Yeah,
say that he didn't do a good job or whatever with it, but I think it was fine.
yeah,
I agree. I think the plot was really the star of this movie more so.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I do think that I know you love Diamonds, but I do kind of think this should have been Connery's last film.
yeah.
Um,
This would be his ultimate swan song. Like this is like the big one. So he actually has like 3 swan songs now. But
Right. This is the
yeah,
first one.
whoa, yeah. He's like has 3 non-consecutive terms. Like,
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
Backed by
yeah,
popular demand. Right.
yeah. And I guess you could even count. You would have 4 if you count from Russia Would Love the video game because he actually came back to voice that.
Yep. Yep. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, I
But
mean, I think he was
yeah,
good. I think he was good. Let's. Is it the other thing we have to keep in mind is he's coming off of a pretty amazing trilogy of films, right? I
yes,
mean
yeah,
it's tough to do a sequel for any successful movie, but they had
yeah,
4 in a row. So,
yeah.
and this is the next film they're trying to do with the same
Mhm,
actor, and they're, upping the budget, and the plot is bigger,
mhm.
and all these things. But
Yeah,
Connery's older now too. That's the other thing.
yeah,
He's a little older. He's not,
yeah,
it's been a few years, and I'm sure that he was enjoying when he wasn't playing Bond. He was probably living a good life. So,
yes,
you know,
yeah,
uh, that takes a toll.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I would be getting out much. You see how attractive his wife was. I think I'd just be staying home and eating and doing other things.
Right. Well, that's probably what he
Yeah,
was doing, but that can still take a toll.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah, but getting the girls as much as usual, and they're quite. There's like I think he beds 4 girls in this one, which is the amount I like for my Bond movies.
You think
You start,
four is the right
yeah,
number, 3 is not
yeah.
enough, 10 a little too much. I'm gonna need some vitamin E after that. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But 4 is just
yeah,
right, Goldilocks.
yeah, yeah. So, and we start off and he's in bed with, I think he said her name. He called her Ling, but she's just credited as Chinese girl.
Hmm.
That Sai Chin is her name. He's in bed with her at the beginning, and then later on we get, I think, one of your favorites, Aki, played by Akiko Wakabayashi, the
Yeah.
first agent he meets. What a beautiful girl!
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
wow, and yeah, she leaves towards the end of the movie, which is unfortunate, but I think she has a good impact when she's there. Very mysterious girl, very beautiful. And I know her and the other girl didn't speak English. They had to take lessons, but
Yep.
as far as on film, like she pulled it off pretty well with I don't know if they used dubbing or that was her voice, but the few lines she had, I think she pulled it off very well.
Hmm.
And she was kind of a hands-on type character too. Like you see her running away from the Kobe docks, and she saves Bond in your favorite car,
Yep.
the little custom-made convertible.
Yep. The Toyota
Is
Toyota
yeah,
GT
yeah, Toyota
2000.
GT
Yeah.
2000. Yeah.
Yeah, great little car. One
Wow, how
of, I
cool.
believe, only 2 that were made for the movie with the convertible. Those are like the
Yeah.
only convertible versions of that car ever made.
Wow.
And
Wow, and it
the
looks so cool
car,
as a convertible. Yeah.
oh yeah, and the
Yeah.
car in general too. Like they only made like I want to say
Mhm.
340 of them, something like
Mhm.
that. They didn't make more than like
Yeah.
400 at the most of
Yeah.
that model. So it was I mean, it was a very rare production car, right? Like,
Yeah.
in terms of, I mean, it's amazing they made even that many, considering,
Yeah.
um, I'm sure they were in high demand. I'm sure they were like,
Mhm.
top of the line sports cars at the time and
Yeah.
very popular in Japan, but I highly doubt those cars made it out of Japan at all for many years.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And then I guess we could talk about Helga Brandt.
Hmm.
Not Fiona Volpe. Is that her name?
Right.
Karen Dorr, kind of very
Karen
similar
Dor.
to Fiona. Yeah,
Hmm.
very beautiful. I think just as beautiful as Fiona or Louisiana. But we get Karen Dor, kind of similar character, Spectre agent, beautiful redhead. Bond thinks he can win her over and turn her to the good side with going to bed with her. I think they even used the line from Thunderball that was cut. The things I do for my country. I think he was originally said that with Fiona.
Right. The things I do for England.
Yeah, the things I do for England. Yeah. We got and the thing I noticed different about her was Fiona was just the evil, rotten person, like pure evil.
Mm-hmm.
Or this girl, I kind of feel bad for her. Like you can tell she's scared a lot of the time. Like she's pretty rotten herself, but you can tell like Fiona was on the same level as Largo. Like they were just back and forth. Like there wasn't one that was more of the authority than the other. This one, like her and Osata, they're way below. Like Osato's the head of a major corporation. This guy has power, but he's just like a groveling insect in front of Blofeld. Same with Karen Dor, with Helga Brandt. Like you can tell there's fear in her eyes whenever she's confronting the Blofeld. Like he's just that much of a menacing powerhouse.
Yep.
So I kind of feel bad for her, especially when she gets eaten by piranhas.
Right. That was a rough end.
Yeah.
Well, tender.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was hard to watch for sure. Watching her get dumped in the piranha tank. I watched an interview with her. She was talking about the movie, and she said that the producers were looking for a tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed German girl, and they got me instead.
Yeah.
Because she's like a brunette, and they had to color her hair or whatever, put her in heels to make her taller.
Yeah, high heels. Yeah. Yeah, she seems like a nice lady. Like she was talking about, I can do my own stunt myself. But then she was like, but I don't want to take a job away from someone. Like she wanted to have the stunt woman on set with her to walk her through it, so the stunt woman wouldn't lose her pay.
That was nice.
Yeah. And then we get I guess she would be the main Bond girl, although she doesn't show up till the end, and she's the main Bond girl of the books. Kissy Suzuki, Mi Hama's her name, and I recognize both of these girls. Aki and Kissy were in Godzilla versus King Kong. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Oh wow, no, I never did, but it makes sense.
And yeah, so yeah, that's always a highlight of those movies, seeing those two beauties again. Another movie they're both in. I don't know if you've seen the Woody Allen movie, What's Up, Tiger Lily?
That is one of the only Woody Allen movies I haven't actually seen. I've seen most of them, but I haven't seen that one.
It's been a while, so I couldn't place them in that, but they're both in that movie, and that's a unique movie. It's like a Japanese spy movie that the Woody Allen took and redubbed it, kind of like Kung Pao. Like later on, there was remember, it's like that type. I think he adds in extra footage. I think Woody Allen's actually in it, but most of the movie is just like a parody spoof, and it's like a redub of a Japanese spy movie.
Okay.
But cool. They're both in. Yeah, but they're both in that one. I thought I'd just throw that out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out sometime. I'd love to see it. Because it came out very shortly after that, right? Or around the same time?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, around the same time or a little before, maybe.
So was that Woody Allen's... Was that Woody Allen's first film after What's New Pussycat in '65 then?
It might have been, yeah, very early on. I remember we checked it out from the library when I was a kid, and my dad was cracking up at it because like the dialogue they would put in, the Japanese actors, it was like super silly. Like they were looking for a chicken salad or a recipe for like the best chicken salad or something.
Oh, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, but but Kissy's beautiful as well. I remember, like I said, this was one of the ones I recorded, and I had it on VHS. So I would, it's just seeing her in that lovely little bikini. I remember that was a highly paused video I had. One of my VHSs I probably wore out.
Yep, the tape getting worn thin.
Yeah. Kissy, he doesn't have many lines, but she is the girl that the girl from the village that works for Tiger Tanaka that Bond goes undercover as her wife.
Mm-hmm.
And same as in the book, it's really good in the book. Like he actually lives with her for a while and goes diving with her, and as they're scouting out Blofeld's castle, and like it's really building up to this adventure. And Kissy's in this one too, and she's more of an agent, like one of Tanaka's top agents in this. Like she's a great swimmer. Like she runs back to get help. Like she swims all the way back as the helicopters or the aircraft are shooting at her.
Right.
And she comes back and joins the battle again in her bikini.
Yeah.
She has a gun, running around with a bikini with a gun in the back.
That's one of the best parts of the movie. It's
I
like,
really like.
how would she
I
have
love
not had
it.
time to put something else on for that last battle, right? Like,
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
but it's so funny. You can see
Yeah, I
why
love
Austin Powers was very influenced by this movie.
it. Yes. Yeah. She. I know. I think she was one of the only ones in this that was dubbed by Nikki Vanderzil.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know because her voice is so good. Like it just blends in so well with everyone she dubs. But
Yep.
and I know at one point even in Sean's wife, what was Sean's wife's name? Diane Salento.
Something like that, I think.
I
Yeah.
think she even doubled as Kissy because she's a really good swimmer, and I guess
Oh.
Mihama couldn't swim, so a lot of the swimming segments was Sean's wife.
Wow.
So kind of weird to see Sean's wife with Bob Simmons there. No.
Yeah, right? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, or whoever the stuntman was. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, but she's a pretty athletic girl looking too. Like she put the black wig on.
Mm-hmm.
She had the same like a perfect body, just like Kissy there swimming
Right.
around. So I never noticed until I watched that documentary right now. Yeah. So any thoughts on Kissy other than that?
Yeah, I think she's one of my favorite Bond girls, probably. As far as when we did the Best Bond series, I think I mentioned her.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she's really underrated as far as,
Mm-hmm.
when people talk about Bond girls, they don't usually talk about Kissy. But,
Yeah.
she's a very likable character for everything she
Mm-hmm.
does. I mean, she's a great
Yeah.
agent. She's very feminine, very
Yeah.
attractive, and, like just everything about her is really cool.
Yes. No, I agree completely. Yeah. 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 She was always one of my favorites growing up. Like
Hmm.
that one shot of her. I know it's back projection, but everything in this movie is so beautiful. There's the sunset of, or it's either the dawn or the sunset where the sun is over the water, and there's just and I think it's a back projection picture of her sitting on the boat, sitting there smiling, and she's just sitting there smiling. It's just so beautiful, like it could be a painting.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The voice dubbing was amazing. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it was really well done. So do you know, did
Yeah.
they dub Aki's voice as well, or was that her real voice?
I think that might have been her real voice. I think they went to train in the United States, or
Hmm.
pardon me, in Europe or England to learn English. And I
Yeah.
know old our boy Tanaka, Tetsuro Tamba was a good coach. Like he had learned English previously in another movie.
Hmm.
I think from the same producers, or it may have been with one of. It was either with Gilbert's or the producer. He had worked with him before, and he learned English. So I think he was a coach. Like he helped them a lot out with the translation and during this movie.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I know I think it was, yeah, and I think Kissy was gonna get cut from the movie.
Right.
Me Hama. Did you hear that story?
I
Did you want to tell
did.
that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Hmm.
Apparently, I guess it was what it was. Cubby or Harry were they saw her on set and they were concerned that
Yeah,
she couldn't speak English
yeah,
yet and all
yeah,
this for the filming, so they were going to get another actress to replace her, and they had
yeah,
Tanaka they had
yeah,
Tanaka take her out to dinner and say like they wanted him to tell
yeah,
her like, hey, you're off the picture. We're sorry, But
Yeah.
apparently he came back the next day and said, so like they asked how it went, and he said, well, she's going to kill herself tonight or whatever. Like she'll commit suicide. And they were like, "Oh my God!" They freaked out. So
I
they,
guess she'll be okay. I guess we'll get another part. She was originally going to play Aki.
yeah, yeah.
Or the Aki character. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
they just kept her on, so so
Yeah.
she wouldn't kill herself.
Yeah.
I
I think
wondered after watching that, I was like, I wonder
yeah.
if Tanaka even took her out at all, or if he just
Yeah, no shit.
came
Yeah, no
back and
shit.
said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, she said she's gonna kill herself if you."
Yeah, or he probably didn't even tell her.
Right? He didn't even tell
You
her.
probably, you probably took her out, but didn't even.
Right? That's what I think might have happened in reality. We'll never know now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love
Yeah.
it, and yeah. And then I guess before we get to the allies, I kind of forgot the locations in this movie, and it's mostly in Japan. But what a beautiful setting for this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I say, we get the fishing village area and the volcano and all that, and then we get like inside of Tokyo and the fancy hotel and it's always cool to see Bond walking around in the streets. Like this is the first time I know he's been to Istanbul and Jamaica and Kentucky and everywhere, but seeing him in like a bustling modern city was cool. Like Japan seems to probably back then as well. It seems so ahead of the time, like as far as the technology goes and
Yep.
all the technology and all the cameras and all the lights and everything going on. It's cool to see Bond like 6'3" walking around in Japan. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then yeah, but as far as the allies go, I guess we'll move on to the MI6 regulars. I think Moneypenny is. We didn't get much of her in this movie, although she's. We get the typical little banter. I think it's very brief in this movie, but we see her and she has the little uniform on, looking really cute with her hair done up and Lewis Maxwell, I guess, was in the military, and she was saying in the commentary that they would never have her hair done like that on a naval ship or in a military setting.
Right.
But I thought she looked cute like that.
Yep. I did too.
Yeah, and then we get M in his office. Kind of typical M scene. Nothing special about it other than being like out in the field on a submarine, which I thought was cool. And they ended up redoing that idea in The Spy Who Loved Me and The Man with the Golden Gun, and I'm sure many more since then.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of cool how the MI6 headquarters or office is kind of mobile out on a submarine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was cool too.
Yeah. And then we don't see Q until later on when he shows up again in shorts, bringing little Nelly. Yeah, what's cool about this movie is high tech everything is. Like Tanaka's like M and Q and Bond all in one. We'll get to him a little bit later, but he's like hands on and he's a tech guy, and he's like M. He's like he's like the M of Japan, but he's also like Bond and Q, and everything's so technologically advanced over there, and there's ninjas and fighting and everything. He has his own Q lab, but then Q kind of shows them all up with little Nelly when he brings little Nelly over, like it said on the back of the VHS. It comes in 3 suitcases, and they build it up into this little tiny airplane. And Tanaka's saying, "This is just a child's toy, Bon-san. Why are you going to use this?" but I think that's like the only time Tanaka gets really showed up, like how wonderful Q's equipment is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Or what
Yep.
do you think about Q in this?
Yeah, I thought it was really fun, right? The little Nelly is such a cool gadget for a movie that didn't have a lot of gadgets. It's sort of like it filled that role.
Yeah.
He's driving Aki's driving the Japanese car, so that didn't really have a lot of gadgets. Although it did have some tech
It
in
had
it.
the television.
Yeah, it had
Yeah,
the
it had the
television.
TV.
That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the TV. Yeah, TV phone. Can you imagine that? Like everything was so advanced back
Right?
there in '67. Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Little Nelly was a really awesome thing, and they got
Yeah.
the guy who could pilot it, did some of the film sequences,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and
That was
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
that was very cool. And
Yeah.
he took that up. Ken Adams said he took it up 8,000 feet once. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, can you
Wow.
imagine being like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a mile and a half,
Oh
in
my gosh, that
the
little tiny
area.
thing.
That
Yeah.
is that is
Yeah.
incredible to be in that little helicopter like that high
Yeah.
up. That's just wow.
That's crazy. And I guess he was up there for many hours. You only see like 7 minutes of it, but he like had many takeoffs and was flying around with that so much.
Hmm.
His name was Ken Wallace, or Wing Commander Ken Wallace. That Ken Adam found him that made that little tiny plane.
Yep.
And yeah, what an impressive little thing. Like I think when I was a kid, I wasn't super impressed because I was thinking maybe it was just a toy, like a little remote controlled toy.
Right.
But it's actually a real freaking thing.
Yeah, that
It's a
was
real guy.
I did
It's the
too.
size of a
Same thing.
yeah.
I thought it was just a remote that they used, but with back
Yeah.
projection. But
Yeah,
no, it
yeah.
was a real thing.
Yes. And then yeah, like this almost the size of a man, like almost as small as the jetpack in Thunderball, tiny little thing with all the gadgets. And I guess Ken Adam designed it. Ken Wallace built it, but Ken Adam designed it with all the weapons and everything. They collaborated and built that little thing, and it had all of the little bombs and the heat-seeking missiles and all the gadgets, just like the Aston Martin or later on the Lotus. Up in the sky, a fantastic aerial battle with its 4 Spectre agents and helicopters. And did you hear the behind the scenes sort of tragedy in that?
Yeah, it was so sad. The guy
Yeah.
fell, right?
Yeah, the guy, yeah, he got his foot cut off. The cameraman, huh?
Oh, the foot getting cut off. Yeah, I was thinking of the
Yeah,
other guy who did the all that aerial photography, the cinematography
yeah, that's him.
stuff.
Yeah, that's him. That's the same guy.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is the same guy. That's right. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
lost the foot on this film, and then he did a lot
yeah,
of the aerial photography in a bunch of other movies,
yeah. And he
including
ended up dying.
The Spy Who
Yeah,
Loved Me. Right? He did the aerial
yeah,
shots in the mountains for that
yeah,
one, the opening.
yeah,
And
yes,
but later on, he fell out of a plane or a helicopter, right,
yeah,
filming something,
yeah,
died.
yeah,
I forget
yeah.
what the film
Johnny,
was.
yeah, yeah. I don't think they said what film. His name was Johnny Jordan.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he lost his foot, and I guess they had reattached the foot. And I don't know, was that in the budget? Was that in the 9.5 budget? Because I think the budget would be even more if it was all of his medical bills. Because they said the
Right.
producers were in there all worried about him and wanting him to save his foot. He says, "No, this foot is killing me. Just take it off." And the producer, "Are you sure? Like we want to try to save your foot?" But he said, "No, just take it off." So I wonder if
Wow.
is all of that in inside that 9.5 million budget, or is that on top of that?
Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Unfortunately, back
yeah, but
then,
yeah,
medical care was a lot cheaper than it is now, so
yeah,
maybe it
that's true.
wasn't
That's
too bad.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe you're right. Yeah, but I guess he was there for months getting treatment.
Hmm.
But yeah, then he ended up going back to work, back 100% back to work until he died. The poor guy.
Yeah. Well, it's very
Yeah,
cool that he could still work, right? Like he
yeah,
loved what he
yeah,
did so much. He wanted to do aerial cinematography. That was his big thing.
yeah,
They said he loved to be in the air. And
yeah,
I mean, it's like Bond at the beginning of the movie. He died doing what he loved, I guess, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So I guess we'll move on to some of the other buddies in the movie. We get a quick scene with Bond's contact Henderson,
Hmm.
uh, um, played by Charles Gray. We see a lot of reoccurring actors from this point out. I picked out a lot of them in this. Like I said, I saw Mei Lee from Goldfinger. At the beginning, the radar, the air control guys at the beginning. I saw Klaus Hergesheimer from Diamonds Are Forever down there. and I saw Shane Rimmer from that plays Captain Carter in The Spy Who Loved Me down there.
Oh, nice.
I
Yeah,
noticed
I
a lot
remember
of them.
him. Yeah, I pointed
Yeah,
him out when I saw that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, all kinds of reoccurring characters. I think I even saw Morton Slumber from Slumber Inc. in the beginning. And I know the guy that was Hans's stunt double was Joe Robinson that plays Peter Franks in Diamonds Are Forever. He was the guy that got like back body dropped into the piranha pit.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that stunt double was actually the guy that fought with Bond. And I always thought that guy was cool because he's a judoka and he's Sean Connery's judo instructor. That stunt man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
um,
Cool.
but but getting back to Henderson, we get Charles Gray. I love that actor. I don't know him in anything other than this, and I know he's in Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays Blofeld, and he's probably like my second favorite Blofeld. But we get to see him in this. He's the Englishman living in Japan, so his living quarters are really cool. Like it's very Japanese, and he has the Japanese robe on everything, but he has a big fancy like Western bed.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought his living quarters were really cool, and just I like all of his lines and how he offers Bond martini, stirred, not shaken, correct? Like he gets it wrong. He
Yeah.
tells, and I don't know if he was a mistake or he's meant to do that. But it makes me really like Bond not being a douchebag and just saying yes, of course, like a douchebag or a penis would say like, oh, actually it's shaken, not stirred. But he says, yes, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, right. There's probably more of a
Yeah,
thank you for
but
not murdering me. I'll take the drink.
yeah, no kidding. And he's killed abruptly in the mid sentence. He has a pretty intense death scene. He's about to talk about. I think he was starting to talk about the Osato or something, and right as
Mm,
he's saying that, someone stabs him through his door, and he just stops talking. Like he doesn't have a death cry or anything. He just stops talking and he turns silent. I thought that was a cool, unique death scene from
right.
Charles Gray there.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and then in the book, this guy's more prevalent in the book. And he doesn't die in the book, but he is a contact of Bond. He's an Australian, like a Australian station chief over there, and he's a real character in the book. Bond hangs out a lot with him in the book. Same with Tanaka, but yeah, we got Henderson there. And then I guess the big buddy in this one, like the coolest guy. He's probably up there with Karen Bay for me. Tiger Tanaka, played by Tetsuro Tamba.
Yep.
And like I was saying, this guy is so awesome. He's so cool. He's almost like a mixture of James Bond and M and Q, and he's like the head of like Japanese intelligence. And he has a cool office that almost looks like a Bond villain with like very simple design, but it has like cameras and TVs all over it.
Yep.
And he has a trap door, and he has the subway. The rail train like with an office that goes from location to location, really cool, and
Yep.
all of his gadgets, and he's hands-on too, like he's in the battle at the end doing martial art moves and killing all of the henchmen at the end.
Right.
What do you think of Tiger Tanaka?
Yeah, I think he's one of the coolest allies in the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think is like you said. I mean, there's not much this guy doesn't do. Very capable.
Yeah,
You know, he's got
yeah,
agents like Aki working for him. He's got a whole.
yeah,
He's got his whole private army of ninjas. That's pretty
yeah,
cool. And he's got that lab too. When they go through the castle and all the ninjas are
uh,
training, they go through the section that Q would be at and shows Bond all the rocket
yeah,
guns,
yeah,
the guns that shoot rockets that were
yeah. The
those were
rocket
really
guns,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he actually gives him. It seems like something Q would give him, but he actually gives him the cigarette rocket that
Right.
saves the day at the end. Yeah,
Yep. That was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and a very chauvinistic. Bless his heart. There are two rules. One is men always come first, and the second is never do anything someone else can't do for you. Oh man, he's a character in the book. I freaking love him in the book.
Yep.
Like it's so much of a contrast between Bond. Like he's so Japanese. Like in the book he'll be making jokes about suicide and stuff, and Bond is like, "Oh, that's terrible." And he'd be talking about, "Oh, the other day, this young man, he didn't get a promotion at the company he was working for, and he jumped off of the building and 50 stories high or whatever, and splattered on the pavement." And then Bond's like, "That's terrible, Tanaka. Like he could have gotten a job somewhere else. That poor young man." He's like, "Yeah, but it's better to kill yourself than disgrace your family like that." And he's talking about how the kamikaze pilots, oh, what a wonderful way to go. The kamikaze pilots taking out those English aircrafts, and like he's all, "Tanaka, that poor young man just threw his life away, like to kill himself." He's like, "You may think he's throwing his life away, Bonson, but he actually, in taking out his own life, he took out 50 of his enemies, which is an honor."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but in the movie he's awesome, and I really wish this would have happened. Do you remember between there was that big hiatus between License to Kill and GoldenEye?
Yeah.
I wish that I would have thought to write down the author of this book. I have it. Maybe I'll try to put it in the pictures, in the visuals. But I got this hardback book that's just a collection of unused Bond stories, and there was actually a script written, several scripts, like full complete scripts of Timothy Dalton movies, like his third and fourth movies that would have been made between GoldenEye and License to Kill. There was one script. I wish this movie is made. I'm hoping maybe it was made in secret, maybe, and it'll be revealed someday, but I know that's not true. Or maybe AI can make it, but there was a script written where Timothy Dalton goes to Japan to deal with like AI and robots. Like it came around in the time of Terminator 2.
Oh wow!
And Tiger Tanaka comes back in that. Tiger Tanaka's in that script.
That's awesome.
And I read the script of that in that book.
Wow!
I'll have to send you a picture of that book. But oh man, I wish this movie would have been made like in '91 or whatever it would have been. Like, oh, it would have been so awesome.
What an interesting plot for a Bond film.
Yeah. Yeah, it dealt with like AI and computers, I think it was like another like a business owner that was into like AI and robots and stuff like that. Yeah.
That was all big then with Terminator and war games, hackers, stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So I wish that movie would have been made with Timothy Dalton. Like, how awesome would that have been? And Tiger Tanaka. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have been the same actor, but how cool would it be to have Tiger Tanaka back?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. And then I guess we'll move on to the baddies. And we talked about Helga Brandt already.
Yep.
I usually try to work the femme fatale in with the girls, but we can talk about them with the villains again. But there's quite a few minor villains in this. Like I said, I thought it was cool that the Rock's granddad is in this. The pro wrestler Peter Maivia, and he fights with Bond. I thought that was a cool fight. So he seemed just as big and as intimidating as Oddjob, and he's just a little throwaway character.
Right.
I thought that was. He picked up the sword and he's swinging the sword at him, and Bond is like rolling out of the way. And Bond kind of looks cool in that like detective trench coat thing. I never really saw him in that before. he took the guy's trench coat.
Yep. Very different look for him.
Yeah, that cool fight scene. I noticed the Rock's granddad did like a monkey flip to him. We call it Tomo Inagi in judo, but I saw him do that to probably Bob Simmons. That looked pretty cool. And then he finished him off with the back body drops, just like with Hans. Like he ducked under and threw him over his head, and then he picked up the statue and clobbered him with it. And the guy did like 2 rolls before he stopped moving.
Right.
Yeah, really cool. And then I guess the only major villain would be Osato, which I thought that guy has a cool look with the white hair. I think that's like he's like a Western actor. He's Asian, but I think he's mostly in like Western movies. But I thought Mr. Sato's look, he had a cool look. And I liked his office and his building and everything. Like I said, he has so much power. Like he's the CEO of this big chemical company, but he's just like nothing compared to Blofeld. Like he's just a groveling peon compared to Blofeld. But I liked how he had his office and all the tech in there, and he had his men like spying on him with cameras in his office. And he had the X-ray. You could see Bond's gun inside of his coat.
Right.
You can see the X-ray and all that.
Aren't you taking a risk right now?
Yeah. Oh, the smoke. Yeah, he's getting on his smoking, but he drinks champagne in the morning. But he's getting on Bond for smoking. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that he ends up. Yeah, Blofeld ends up killing him at the end for I guess for his failure. He ends up just shooting him at the end. I guess he should have just shot Bond, but he wants to kill Osata for his failure.
The cost of failure.
Yeah, the cost of failure. This is the cost of failure, Mr. Bond. And then we get. I noticed a lot of the little henchmen around there. We got Hans. And I said that was a big dude. Like he had to be almost like probably 6.5 feet tall.
Yep.
And big dude, almost like the size of Jaws. It looked like Bond is like giving him like little gut shots, and it looks like he's like like chest level with him.
Yep.
But yeah, big dude gets eaten by piranhas at the end. But I noticed a lot of the henchmen in this. I noticed what's his name, Mr. Ling was back as Spectre Agent number 3. That actor.
Oh yeah.
Did you notice he was there? His name was Burt Kwok. Burt Kwok is the actor. He was in one of the Peter Sellers movies. He was his little training partner.
The Pink Panther.
But I noticed Pink Panther. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember he would battle with him like he.
Oh right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I noticed him. And then another guy I noticed was the guy he killed with the rocket cigarette. That guy, I think his name was Anthony Chin. But you saw him come back in A View to a Kill. He was like the Mr. Solo of the movie that wanted out of the deal, and then Mayday dropped him out into the San Francisco Bay.
Right.
So that guy's been killed twice unpleasantly in the Bond movie. Yeah. But then I guess the biggie of the movie, he's like the Dr. No of the movie, the mysterious Blofeld that he's been teasing us for the past three movies. Since the beginning, we've been hearing about this Spectre organization, and we know there was a big baddie, and we only saw his hand and his cat. Now we finally get to see Blofeld in this movie, played by Donald Pleasance. What do you think about Blofeld?
Yeah, you gotta love Donald Pleasance as Blofeld.
Yeah.
Once you see who they started with, the guy that looked like Santa Claus as Blofeld, you could say like, wow, Donald Pleasance was amazing compared to what that would have been.
Yeah, he looked like a kindly little old man with a beard.
Yeah, terrible. That would have never worked. So it was good that they found Donald Pleasance to do it. I love his scar they put over his eye. I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of that's one thing that would have been cooler. I feel like for Majesties if Telly Savalas had the scar.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. But
he had. I guess it was that glue tech. He glued his skin together. He even bruised his skin from wearing it so long. Like he glued his skin to make that. It looks really scary too. I remember I couldn't look at it when I was a kid. I thought he was scary looking.
Right. Well, maybe for Telly, they wanted him to be more of a direct foil to Bond, like more, because Telly Savalas was a famous, kind of, manly sort of actor at the time too. So tough guy.
Yeah, so. a lot larger than Donald Pleasance, a little guy.
Right. But yeah, I thought Donald Pleasance was great, very sinister, right? You got to love the build
Yeah.
up throughout the film. You see the
Yeah.
hand, the cat in his lap,
Yeah.
and the cat's, look the look that the cat gives when the piranhas eat the Helga
Yeah.
Brandt, is hilarious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell the cat's disturbed,
Yeah.
scared, just reacting to it is really funny.
Yeah. You
Um,
heard the behind the scenes story with the cat.
no, what was that?
I guess the cat was traumatized. You can see it in a couple
Oh,
of shots. I never noticed it until someone pointed it out. But when Bond starting to blow up the facility, there's explosions going off, and Donald is holding the cat on his shoulder, and you see the cat is terrified, like
oh,
it's clawing at Donald, and its eyes are big, and Donald is like trying to hold it. It looks like it's trying to get away. But
oh,
I guess the cat got away and ran away and got up into the rafters. They couldn't find it for a few days, and the owner was pissed. Like
oh,
that cat. The cat is the owner's meal ticket, and the cat wouldn't go back on movie sets. I guess it did like cat
oh,
commercials and like carpet commercials. Like so, the cat would not want to go on film sets anymore. So that guy was pissed. I think he sued the production.
wow.
Yeah,
Jeez, well, he had to know what he was getting into, right? The
yeah, I
doing a
know.
Bond movie, like,
I know. So I guess that probably wasn't the same cat in Diamonds Are Forever,
yeah, probably not. Must have been a different
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
So, but
yeah,
no, Donald Pleasance was great.
yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him in more films, really,
Me too.
as
Yeah,
the character.
yeah,
I like the others. I mean, Blofeld Telly Savalas is my favorite, of
yeah,
course.
yeah. Me too. Yeah,
But Charles Gray, I thought was fun in the role as well.
yeah,
He's a little different.
yeah,
I thought he did really well for the wacky kind of tone of Diamonds Are Forever,
yeah. No,
right?
he was perfect for that movie, for the tone of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, if Telly Savalas had been in that, it would have been. I think it would have felt really weird, particularly
Yeah,
with Connery coming back. Like, I think if Lazenby
yeah,
had been in it with Telly, it would have been better.
yeah.
But
Yes,
I'm glad that it wasn't just one of them.
yeah, yeah. It would have been. Yeah, if it was either had to be both or neither.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering if it would have had the same tone with them. And we're kind of getting off the subject, talking about
right.
majesties and diamonds, but I'm wondering if it would have been a different tone if we would have had both of them back.
Yeah, it would have been right because the
Yeah,
Majesties is so dark, right? The
yeah,
the vibe of Majesties is so dark,
yeah,
and like that. Well, we talked about
yeah,
it before when we talked about Best of Bond. Like that would have been one of my
yeah,
fantasies. Would be
yes,
Diamonds Are Forever as a real revenge movie,
yeah,
more in the vein of License to Kill.
yes. And it would have
Um,
been cool. Yeah, it would have been cool if they could have incorporated some of that "You Only Live Twice" stuff into that, where maybe Blofeld has a castle. Maybe like they didn't have to have it in Japan. It could have been in like the United States somewhere, a castle
hmm
where he has to infiltrate it at the end
Yeah, that would have been
instead of
awesome.
instead of the oil rig.
hmm Yep.
Yeah, yeah, but Donald, I love Donald Pleasance. Like I love him in the Halloween movies.
Oh yeah.
Usually everything that guy's in. Even like I see him in a lot of B movies, and he's just fantastic in everything he's in.
Well,
Like he can make a B movie seem like an A movie if that guy's in it.
and that's what Halloween was at the time. That was a big
Yeah,
big thing for
yeah,
Halloween. I heard
yeah,
John Carpenter talk about that. What a big deal
yeah,
it was for him to get Donald Pleasance to do the
yeah,
movie. Like once
yeah,
once Don like, and I think when I watched that documentary about Halloween,
yeah,
he really didn't think Donald was gonna do it.
yeah,
I think that was like a big thing. So once Donald would agree to do it, it was like, wow, we
yeah,
have some legitimacy to this movie
yeah,
now. Like it,
yeah. You know what?
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought
and
that
I
was
don't
really
think I
cool.
would. I don't think that series would be on that level like it is without him. So I'm so glad they got him.
Yeah, no,
So John Carpenter was able
definitely.
to get him.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did
and of
such a good
course,
role
yeah,
as the as
yeah,
Myers
Doc, yeah,
doctor.
Dr. Loomis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Loomis. Yep,
yeah,
was amazing.
yeah, great stuff.
Uh,
And then
can't forget The Great Escape either. Donald
Yeah. Oh,
Pleasance.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. He's what's his name? Blythe, or what's his name?
Yeah,
He
I forget the name, but
he goes.
he goes
Yeah, he
blind,
goes
right?
blind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great role he has in that movie. Yeah. How could I forget about that? Yeah. Yeah, great actor, and of course his look, the Blofeld look, is pretty much Doctor Evil to a T.
Yep.
That's Doctor Evil right there.
Absolutely. Well, I think of them kind of. I think of Doctor Evil kind of a combination of him and Telly Savalas, just because Mike Myers is a little bigger than Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty much. Otherwise, no, spot on, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
definitely it's very much Donald Pleasance.
yeah. You never hear kids talk about this movie, but all the kids love Donald Pleasance because of Halloween, and all the kids love Doctor Evil, and all the kids love ninjas. So I'm really surprised this movie isn't like more popular these days. You Only Live Twice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you had to. I wonder nowadays how many kids watch Bond movies like at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. Yeah, I don't know.
it,
I don't know a lot of them.
it's sort of something you gotta. We saw it when we were kids, and
Hmm.
it's like if you don't get into it when you're young, it's
Yeah,
probably unlikely you get into it later.
yeah. They're not as available as before. Before they would be on television a lot,
Hmm.
but they'd be like on TBS. They do marathons all the time, and they'd be at video stores. Now, I don't think they even stream anywhere. They were on like Pluto and Tubi, but they're not even like streaming for free. They're not even on Netflix anymore.
Yep. They were just everywhere for a few years there because
Yeah,
on those streaming
yeah.
services, and now it's probably hard to find them,
Hmm.
right? I mean, that's why I
Hmm.
think it's good we got the Blu-ray sets because
Yeah.
man, I would not want to be without these Blu-rays now.
No, man.
Depending on
So,
the streaming.
yeah, so much content on these too, like all the extras.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, it's really helped us do this show and be able to talk about all
Yeah,
these extra things
yeah,
from all of the documentaries and commentaries
yeah,
on these Blu-rays.
yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, heck yeah. And
S-
then, yep.
well, just speaking of that, what did you think of the Maurice Bender title documentary?
Oh, I love that. I'm glad you told me to watch that. I wasn't gonna watch anymore, but I watched it last night before I went to bed. I love that. Like, what a cool guy Maurice Bender is, and oh yeah, it just really puts into perspective how wonderful and creative all of those opening title sequences are.
Yep.
And how he would like put it off to the last minute and do all that crap under pressure, like the last day. Yeah,
Right. But
yeah,
he was an artist, right? Of
yeah,
everyone, like he was like that. It's funny. All these art people
yeah,
describe him as the real like artist. Like
yeah,
even Ken Adam
yes,
was like he's like an art. He's an artist. You know?
yes, yeah. And I love that he's a ladies' man and he loves the ladies because that really shows in his work. Like, it's just so visually appealing to the eye. All of the wonderful ladies he has on there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like everyone just loved him. Like everyone associated with the whole production just loved him.
Yep. Sounded
Like
like
almost
they
like family.
they were really sad when he passed away. It sounded like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he did quite a few of them, all the way up till License to Kill, huh? All the
Hmm.
way through License to Kill, huh?
Yep. I think
Yeah.
License to Kill. That was the other guy. I think that was the first one he didn't do.
Oh,
Cause
Dan Kleinen.
yeah, Dan Klein did License
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Kill. Hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, so he did keep the same style. Then I always thought that was Maurice Bender. So I know he was talking up Maurice, like he was trying to keep the same style, but do it
Right.
with more modern effects. And I think he did a fantastic job with the newer ones as well. But I didn't even realize that one wasn't Maurice. So he like really
Yep.
was using Maurice's style in
That
License to Kill, huh?
yeah, that's what
Wow.
he talked about. He really wanted it to be
Yeah.
like an homage to all
Yeah.
of Bender's work before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think and it's okay. I would say of the title sequences, License to Kill isn't really one of my favorites, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's weird too to see the band kind of. Or no, you know what? I'm thinking of the music video. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, the band. Okay, the
Yeah.
music video.
I
Okay,
think
yeah,
that Dan worked on the music video. So
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
maybe
okay,
Maurice did the titles. I can't remember. I have to go back
okay,
and look.
okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not totally positive,
Yeah.
but I know it does. It does look like a Maurice Bender, the License to Kill.
Hmm.
But man, I'm glad what Daniel did with the ones after that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
like with the like all the like the girls made out of like computer chips and like they look like robotic
Yep.
or synthetic or like I can't really describe like the from the
Tomorrow
world
Never
or from
Dies.
was yeah Tomorrow Never Dies, yeah,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all the Brosnan intros. Like
yeah,
really, like
yeah,
they're really good. And when we did Best of Bond, I think I mentioned Tomorrow Never Dies is my favorite title sequence.
yeah,
For that, like I love
yeah,
that doing the
yeah,
computerized robotic
yeah, and all the
stuff,
X-ray stuff,
all the
yeah,
X-ray stuff. I just thought it was awesome.
yeah, yeah, I love that.
Um, But yeah, coming back to You Only Live Twice though, where well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about with Blofeld before we move on?
Oh no, just that I can see why he's the most iconic Blofeld and he's most people's favorite.
Yep.
I don't think he's my favorite. I think Tully is my favorite, and maybe Charles is up there second, but that's not taking anything away from Donald. I think just because like Dr. No, he's not really in much of the movie where we get a lot of Donald and a lot of Charles throughout
Right.
those movies.
Hmm.
So that's not like taking anything away. I think just because I see them more, I probably like them more. But he's up there. I can see why he's considered the best.
He's so
Donald,
sinister. He's so sinister, right?
yeah,
He's so
Sinister, yeah, Sinister, yeah,
like he does sinister,
and he
I
never
think, the
blinks.
best.
Yeah, he never blinks.
Hmm.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
noticed, but he never blinks at all.
Right. It's such an intense stare he has when he's on screen
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
time. Absolutely.
yeah. Excellent. And it ends with him. It ends with Blofeld kind of. He gets a ninja star in his wrist, but he doesn't quite die. He runs away and self destructs the facility.
Yep.
So he gets away to live another day, but his plot is foiled and using all of his resources and the help from the ninjas and the gadgets.
Yep.
There's the wonderful battle sequence inside of that wonderful Ken Adams set, and I think I might like this even more than the Thunderball underwater battle
Hmm.
scene.
Yep.
What do you think of the final battle in the volcano crater base? What do you think of that? The ending?
I mean, it's incredible, right? We were watching it, and I was trying to figure out as I was watching it this time, like, is this a model?
Mm-hmm.
Is it some clever sort of projection technique?
Yeah, or forced
And
perspective, or
yeah,
yeah,
something like that. And I was like,
yeah,
I really think it's real. Like, if it's
yeah,
as I was watching it, I was like, all right, if this is fake, they did an incredible job, like
yeah,
really making it look real, for
yeah.
67,
Mm-hmm.
But of course it was a massive Ken Adams set, massive in scope and price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What it cost to actually do it, right? So,
Wow. Yeah, $1 million. And I guess we don't even see all of it on film. They were
right.
talking about there's all kinds of like corridors and rooms and stuff they had an idea for, but I don't even know if they were used in the movies.
Hmm.
And other the monorails and the rocket and the ceiling can actually open up and a rocket can get lowered in and out of it and a
Right.
helicopter can fly down and there's a helicopter landing pad that moves around. The helicopter can come fly down into that thing.
Yeah, actually functional,
Yeah, yeah,
volcano lair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then and we get all the ninjas coming down on bungee cords or ropes.
Yep.
Just like 50 ninjas at once, and there's that big battle. and this is before the Bruce Lee craze and all the martial arts craze in the United States. It might even be like a decade before that, or maybe like half a decade. But we get all these ninja fights. We get the ninja coming down, like taking out 7 guys at once with his samurai sword.
Yep.
And we get the Chinese stars and all the and Tanaka's in there doing martial arts. And just a huge just like the typical henchman versus ninja like ending Bond battle scene.
The guy comes down and with the machine gun, repelling
with a machine gun
and shooting all these guys. That actor broke both his ankles on the landing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I heard about that. Wow.
Was really sad, of course. As well, but what an impressive end thing. They said it was 100 stuntmen were involved with that sequence when the ninjas actually invade the set.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible stuff.
So cool. Yeah. And then I thought the climax was probably the best one ever as far as Bond goes. Like he's working his way up the staircase and he's taking out guys with his gun and with Chinese stars. Yep. And he fights his way up to the room and there's Hans up there with a key. I think that the Hans fight was kind of rushed, like because we never even saw Hans that much in the movie. I kind of wish they would have like made more of an intimidating presence. But he just shows up, and then that fight's pretty darn cool.
I think they didn't because they had already. It's sort of like they had the Odd Job character split in two, right, between the driver and Hans, but. Unfortunately, that meant neither of them really had developed characters.
That's true. Yeah, but both fights were pretty cool. All of that cool improv Bob Simmons stuff.
Yep. Very impressive stuff for sure.
Yeah, and then he does the little. They call him pro wrestling. I don't know what it's called in we never really do that move in judo, but he does the back body drop. He throws Hans into the piranhas and it eats him up. And then he says that line, "Bon appetit," which later on that was reused in License to Kill. Remember when Timothy Dalton dropped the guy inside of the the drawer that was filled with like maggots or like some kind of larva.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always thought that was so disturbing. That was one of the most disturbing things in a Bond movie, I thought, when he put the guy back into that thing.
Yeah, that was gross. Or he threw some of them in the guy's face first, and then he dumped him in there. Yeah. And then, then he gets the key and he stops it. This time he doesn't need the Americans to help him. Like he actually stops it himself. Like the last 5 seconds, he stops he blows up. No, he destructs the spacecraft before it eats the other one, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And there's about World War III is about to break out. It's coming right at us. The spacecraft's coming right at us. 10 seconds to impact. And then, right before we're about all to go to war, bomb blows it up.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah. And then we get the typical Bond ending where they swim out of that cave, and I think that was a real location that they scouted out where all the ninjas are swimming out of that cave.
Yep.
And then the military drops all of the floating devices, and of course Bond and Kissy get one to themselves, which is awesome. And we got it again, Wubs. All my movies in this way, baby.
That's right.
And then, but then on top of that, and the submarine comes up below them, and I always thought that would be a tough thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But on the commentary, I guess they said, I don't know how they would have done that with the water, like how they would have picked up the raft. But I guess they put the raft on top of the submarine and then stuck it to it and then went underwater with it. And then they just reversed the film so it looked like the submarine was rising up above. Yeah. I didn't know that until now. I was wondering how that would have worked.
Yeah, that was probably a Peter Hunt idea.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah, that was fantastic. And then we get M and Moneypenny down there, and says, "Oh," she says, "007's aboard, sir," and he tells her, "Tell him to come below."
And she's
Is
like,
that
"It'll
some
be a
kind of
pleasure, sir."
It'll be yeah. And then we get the wonderful Nancy Sinatra song again.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, wonderful stuff.
The sunset.
Yeah, sunset. Yeah, yeah, so romantic too. Like I said, Thunderball's a romantic movie, and I kind of like his relationship with Domino the most so far.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's just like super beautiful, like visually romantic, and all the wonderful wide shots and the establishing shots and the everything looks like it's out of a photograph, like or a painting or something in this movie. I just love it so much, and the music complements it. It's so beautiful and romantic.
Yep.
And
It is so
yeah,
good.
yeah. So after watching it, after the movie came to a close, your last viewing, did your opinion change of this movie, or do you like it more? Do you like it less? What do you think about You Only Live Twice after your most recent viewing?
I think I like it a little more. Honestly, it's impressive. I think it's just so impressive to know that Little Nelly worked. It was a real thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
also the Ken Adam $1 million set was really a Ken Adam $1 million set. Like
yeah,
it wasn't a model, it
yeah,
wasn't anything, any sort of,
yeah,
digital trickery, or
yeah.
whatever. It was a real place they built for that whole sequence. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is just,
Yeah.
God, that must have been the biggest set ever made for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. After
Yeah.
that, I would think.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
uh, really impressive stuff. So, as far as and we forgot to mention some of the film techniques too, like
Yeah.
the director on that rooftop sequence, right when he's at the dock fight,
Yeah.
and Bond
Yes.
makes it to the
Oh, how could I
roof and
forget
he's
that?
running and
Yeah.
fighting all the guys, and the director said that
Yeah.
normally for fight sequences, they're really close in, they're really tight,
Yeah.
close shots,
Yeah.
but he decided to go in the totally opposite direction for this
Oh, yeah.
long
That's
fight
another. Yeah.
sequence.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
one take, all from aerial view. That was fantastic. I love that.
yeah,
And then we
very
get a few
cool.
good stunt. Yeah, a few good stunts after that. That I'd never seen anything like that before that. Um.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that sequence.
I thought it was kind of awesome, just
Yeah.
for something different.
Yeah. And then yeah, we get Little Nelly, and we get the volcano layer. Like this movie is spectacle is way above all the other ones, and I think that's why I like it. I
Yep.
think it's still my least favorite Connery movie,
Hmm.
but I'm not taking anything away from it because I love it. I think I love it even more after this viewing, and especially after watching the commentaries. Just the spectacle in this one. The high points are higher than any other ones. We get the space stuff. We get the layer or the volcano layer, the $1 million set with the ninjas. We get Tiger Tanaka. We get Blofeld's reveal. We get Little Nelly and the aerial battle.
Yep.
Uh, we get the scenery. I love seeing Japan on film, like whether it's the cities or the countryside or anything. I
Hmm.
love the setting of this movie. The women I think are just as hot as ever. Um, yeah, so yeah, I can't say anything wrong with this movie other than something about it doesn't quite reel me in like the other ones.
It doesn't. There's something about it where I feel like it just doesn't have the flow that the others have,
Yeah.
or like it just feels a little out of sync, and I don't know why that is exactly.
Yeah, I,
But
I can't really
yeah.
put because there's so much good going on in it. Yeah,
Hmm.
like I said, just something about I don't know if it's the plot is fine. Like I love the plot. It's just
Yeah.
something about it just doesn't intrigue me like the previous ones. Something about the flow of it.
And maybe it is. There are certain things like it's weird to see Charles Gray die as quickly as he does.
Yeah,
I think like that
yeah,
kind of throws things off a bit. But it's
yeah,
also surprising, and it adds to the
yeah,
general excitement of the movie. And Bond is really in Japan for a while there, kind of on his own. Like he doesn't really know what's going
yeah,
on. So That's the other thing that maybe that's what it is. It's just it all feels like it's not as clean cut as most of his movies. Usually he starts out and there's something happens and he goes to MI6. They tell him exactly what to do, and he has a very clear direction. This is the first one where it's like they're not really sure what he should be doing. Kind of.
For a while when I was a kid, I didn't really know what was going on in this movie. And like you said, like this movie just starts off and it just starts going like his body gets dropped into the sea, and then it goes right into the submarine, and then the submarine goes right to Japan, and he just scuba dive. He gets shot out of a torpedo.
Yeah.
And he goes straight to Japan with nothing, and then like the movie just goes from there. And at the end, they pick him back up in the submarine. Yeah. Like there's not really any globe trotting, which is fine. It's
right.
This was more like back during like the travel log movies, which were pretty cool. Like it was mostly in Jamaica and Dr. No, and mostly in Istanbul and From Russia with Love.
Yeah, Goldfinger was really the first one, I guess, with multiple locations.
Yeah.
And Thunderball.
Because Thunderball had France at the beginning, but it was all set in the Bahamas, right?
Right. Thunderball's really more of a one location kind of thing.
Yeah.
As well. So that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that before. So that really means like Goldfinger was really the only Connery film where he is globetrotting. Like he's kind of going to I mean, he's all over Europe and then he's in America at the end.
Well, we got my favorite later on, even though it's mostly in Vegas, but he does go to like the Netherlands.
Wait, say that again, Tylord.
Diamonds Are Forever. He does. I know that's not your favorite, but but he goes to the Netherlands, or he goes to Holland, and he goes to Vegas.
Yep.
And Baja.
Baja. I don't have anything in Baja.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta give Diamonds Are Forever some love just for Jill St. John. I mean, let's be honest. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Not only is she a beautiful Bond girl, but she's so funny in that movie. Like she has some of the best lines.
I love her. Yeah. And even Plenty O'Toole, even though she's kind of similar to the same character, I just love her too.
Yeah, Plenty is great.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to that soon. But we'll get to that one soon enough. But I think we're really looking forward to the next one, and I know it's your favorite. So is this the most hype we're gonna get from this series?
I think it might be. How you feeling about
our next?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I mean, you can't imagine ever since those first frames of Dr. No, watching it on this Blu-ray set, I've been like, oh my god, that OHMSS is gonna look amazing, like restored.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Like I can't. I've been looking forward to it literally since we started this series.
Yeah. But I know it kind of all comes together in this next one too, because we've been seeing Peter Hunt's editing through the whole thing, and his second unit directing, and it's all going to come together with him as the man behind him with the Peter Hunt's the guy in charge in the next one, the director.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be fun. So I might even watch it after this talk now. Get ready for next weekend.
It's almost gonna be like almost like a continuation, but almost like a fresh start.
Yeah.
With a fresh new Bond.
Yep.
And the guy who's been there the whole time, Peter Hunt, but he's finally getting to direct the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, can't wait for this. I don't mind if we go like 3 hours on the next one. I'll put it all on one upload.
Yeah, it might take 3 hours.
Yeah.
We'll see, but coming back to You Only Live Twice though, it again I do feel like it was more entertaining watching it this time than when I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I do think what you said about the the book is very interesting. Like I really want to read the book now. I want to read OHMSS
Yeah.
and then this in order. I want to read the books in
Yeah.
order when I do it.
Yeah.
And also the whole thing of him, trying to look more Japanese or whatever,
Yeah.
it came off as kind of cheesy in the movie. I don't think it
Yeah.
aged super well as a plot point concept because,
Yeah.
everybody, it's like they knew who he was at the school. They try to kill him,
Yeah.
assassinate him at the school
Yeah. Yes.
twice.
Yeah.
And, then it's like, okay, well, you must look more Japanese to blend in. I get it, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, everybody's going to know who you are anyway, dude, because you're like a foot taller than everybody
Yeah.
else. So like just trying to make him
Yeah.
look more Japanese, it seemed kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous as a concept. All they had to do was
Yeah.
find Tiger Tanaka and look for the tall guy
Yeah.
nearby.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, huh? And then, like, he didn't even look Japanese. Like, I couldn't even tell. I saw them
No,
putting like little eyepieces on him,
right?
and then they put a wig, or they cut his hair different, or put a wig on him. But he just looked like Mr. Spock to me. Like, I couldn't tell anything on the eyes different. Like, we were talking about Doctor No, Joseph Wiseman, and Miss Taro, and
Right.
Annabelle Chung.
Hmm.
Like, they were not Asian, but they kind of looked like Asian, at least
Right.
with the makeup they had on.
Absolutely.
But this guy just looks like a Mr. Spock,
Hmm.
or a gorilla trying to be Mr. Spock or
That is, yeah, Mr. Spock. That's what they made him look like.
something.
More so. You're
Yeah.
right. That's right. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that one thing, like, it's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't ruin the movie or anything, but
Yeah.
it doesn't help it either, I
Yeah.
think. And yeah,
Yeah.
so, but anyway,
But
definitely still worth watching. Well worth watching.
yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
movie.
One other thing is, I remember the wedding sequence. I thought was boring as hell when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Like, I thought, like he's getting pretend to be a Japanese guy, and he's getting married, and there's that little ceremony. I guess it's a nice little showing of like Japanese culture and how they get married. So I thought it was kind of cool this time, and it was actually only like 2 minutes long. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's very short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to get back to the action.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I think
yeah.
I'm still on the same level. Of course, I like it more every time I watch a Bond movie. I like it more and more, but I still think it's probably on the bottom of my Connery list. But I
Hmm.
mean, that's not saying anything because I love them all so much.
Right. They're all really good. I could see that. I think it would be between this one and Doctor No for me. Although I will say, after this
Yeah.
viewing of Doctor No, like I definitely like Doctor No a lot more than I used to.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really got to appreciate it more on this last viewing.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as spectacle goes, this one's on top. Like, as far as
Hmm.
spectacle, like you say, we don't really get Bond as much, like acting, and this is more plot driven, and we don't. I don't think he gets as many good lines and as much like intimate moments,
Yep,
but I think this. But I mean, as far as spectacle go, it's on top. It's top tier
I
compared to
agree.
any of them.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Yep.
well, this has been
So I
great.
guess what? Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I loved. I was so looking forward to this. Another highlight of my week right here.
Yep.
So glad you're doing this with me. We're already up to the fifth movie. Can you imagine this? We're up to the
No,
fifth movie already.
that's amazing. I can't believe how many of these we've
Yeah.
done, and you've done such a good job with
Yeah.
the editing. I look forward to watching the completed, episodes as much as anybody else at the end of the
Yeah.
week.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
you
Oh,
know,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll try to start cranking them out a little faster now. I think I'm going to cut back the editing. I might do less stills, or less
hmm,
video stills in there. It just takes so long. I would love to do them all.
right.
But I've been doing like every 2 seconds I put a new picture on there,
That's a
which I don't know
lot,
if someone watches it, they might appreciate that.
right?
But I think a lot of people were more talking about just letting us listen to us talk. So I'm gonna concentrate more just on the audio probably from now on. But I
Right.
don't know. When we get to Majesties, we might have to have a lot of visual aids in that one. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking we could have on. I still got to talk to him. I got to have on Omega Ace. We can talk about Casino Royale 50. Okay. Yeah, so I might start cutting back on the editing because it's so time consuming. I love doing it, but I'm thinking most of the time a lot of the viewers just like listening to our conversation, which is good. Although I'm pretty sure people would appreciate all of those visual video clips I put in there. Like sometimes like every 2 seconds I put one. It's just really time consuming, and I enjoy doing that. But I might just more concentrate on the audio part just to start cranking these things out faster.
Right.
Although Majesties, I think we're gonna have to have quite a few visual aids for that one, so I don't mind taking my time with that one.
Yeah.
But as far as that, and I still want to have Omega Ace on. I think he kind of regretted talking about that Casino Royale 54 so much. But I was thinking that's a movie we could maybe just talk about it briefly. But I kind of want to have him on and go through the questions, like what's his favorite Bond movie. We could have another little
Right.
discussion like that.
Sure.
Like we could ask him what his favorite Bond movie and favorite actor, favorite song, and then maybe we can just briefly give us all of our opinions on the 54 Casino Royale. Just have a
Yeah.
little bonus episode. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I would love it. I'm sure that some of our
Yeah,
viewers would enjoy it too.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
because initially I wanted to have on. I was hoping more people would say, "Hey, let me on." I wanted to have more people on and ask the Bond questions that we went through and discuss it with other people.
right.
So if anyone's interested, let us know if you want to be a guest and tell us about your favorite things about Bond. I
If
was thinking
you
maybe movie, book. Yeah.
right, if you think you're a bigger Bond fan than us, we definitely want to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, easy to find us. Just in the comments, let us know, or you can contact me as I'm Tylord79 on Discord or Instagram. And you got and speaking of Wubs here, we got my top five. Go check him out. I'm pretty sure by now his RetroTiburon interview will be up about RetroTiburon's top five video games.
Yep,
Uh, uh,
that should be out.
yeah, yeah, and probably a few more by then. The way I am about uploading these, go check out Wubs. You have anything else planned, Wubs?
Yeah, I've got right now I think I have another 3 interviews to do for the My Top 5 video game series. So all those recordings are done, but I have
Mm,
to do the editing, so that's what I'll be working on in the coming weeks. And yeah, that's quite a bit of work too. My editing
yeah,
takes a lot of time for those
yeah,
episodes because I do not only game footage, but I add in music by
yeah,
all kinds of different artists that do remixed video game music. So you get the
yeah.
interview about the games, the history, the memories, and you get game footage and music from
Mm,
the games. That's
yeah,
by remixed artists. So
yeah,
it's a lot to put together, but it's a lot of
yeah.
fun producing the show.
Yeah, and it all flows together so nicely, all the music and the visuals and the interviewing and all wonderful editing. And yeah, so go check out Wubs. Go subscribe if you're not already. Wonderful video game discussions. My top five. And we also were featured on the Retro Wave recently, so go check that out. Wubs and I were both guests on Retro Tiburon's podcast, the Retro Wave, where we discussed our top five fantasy movies, and that was a fun recording.
It was a lot of fun to do that one.
Yeah.
And we had totally different picks. That was the other thing that was
Yes.
so cool. We with all of us there, there were 4 of us, and I
Hmm.
think we only had like 1 or 2 crossovers,
Yeah.
maybe. So we talk about a lot of different movies on that podcast episode.
Yeah. 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 I think we all chose very different movies, and we had Dad Level Podcast was on there too. Vince
That's
throwing
right.
out his
Yep.
top fives. Yeah. Yeah. That was a good time. I had a fun time with that. Yeah.
So
So go check that out. Retro Wave. He might have it up on YouTube by now, but that will be on his website, Retro Wave Podcast.
Yep. Well, Tylord, thank you again for producing the episode and the series. I've been enjoying it so much, being able to co-host this with you.
Oh, thank you. I can't thank you enough for doing this with me. I'm so happy we're up to You Only Live Twice. Like, I didn't think this would ever happen. Like, we're just cranking through them. I can't believe this is so wonderful. I'm so appreciative that you would do this with me. Great time.
And we got to do the video games soon because you sent me the PlayStation 3, so now I can play a lot of the Bond games I missed because I haven't played any of the games. Mm-hmm. Well, I did. That's not true. I played Casino Royale, or no, Quantum of Solace for PS3. Yeah. But that's the only one I've played since GoldenEye. Nightfire. Yeah. Nightfire. I played Nightfire, right. And but there's a lot of games I missed in the Bond series. Yeah. So looking forward to going back to those.
I think you'll be surprised how good they are. It's almost like watching another Bond movie that was never released.
Right. Yeah. That's what Nightfire was like to me. I thought Nightfire could have been a film. Yeah.
I feel the same way.
And not just the plot either, but the whole production, like the actors and the music, the intro, all of it. Yeah. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about this stuff. I guess we'll get going, though. We had a fantastic time talking about a fantastic movie here. You Only Live Twice. Thanks again to Wubs for being here. Thanks for listening, everyone. Comment down below. Don't be shy. Talk to us about You Only Live Twice. Anything else you got, Wubs?
You expect me to talk more?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Well done, boys. Another successful mission. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this debriefing, please like and share it with your friends.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.